I knew something was wrong the moment she stopped humming in the kitchen. Sophie always hummed. Taylor Swift, Fleetwood Mac, whatever was playing on her Spotify that week. But that morning, there was only silence and the clatter of a spoon against her coffee mug. She didn't look up when I came in. Just a quiet morning and nothing else. I asked her if everything was okay. That's when she said it. "Grant, I think I need some space." Just like that. Like she was asking for a weekend away, not a break from our marriage. I stood there in my work shirt, toast in my hand, not knowing what to say. She wouldn't even look me in the eye. I didn't yell. I didn't ask why. I just nodded and walked out the door, heart thudding like a drum. But something inside me knew this wasn't about space. This was about secrets. 3 nights later, I was on my laptop sorting out the utilities bill. Sophie had always handled them, but I figured I'd better take a look now that we were whatever we were. I logged into our shared email to find the confirmation code they always send. But something else caught my eye. A hotel reservation confirmation. Downtown. Friday to Sunday. 2 nights. King room. Breakfast included. Champagne upgrade. I sat there staring at the email. I hadn't booked anything. And Sophie sure as hell hadn't told me she was going anywhere. I clicked through the reservation details, made under her name, sent to our shared email. I blinked twice, thought maybe I'd misread it. Maybe she booked it for a friend. But when I scrolled down, I saw the final line. Guest 2, Michael H. Michael H. A name I hadn't heard in years, but I knew who he was, and suddenly, everything inside me went still. Michael H. That name hadn't crossed her lips in years. Not since before we were married. He was her ex from college, the one who broke her heart, or so she told me. I remember one night, early in our relationship, we were watching a movie, and the lead character had the same name. She tensed, quieted, said she hated that name, said she never wanted to talk about that part of her life again. So I never asked. I respected her silence, and maybe that was my mistake, because now, here it was. Michael H. checking into a hotel with my wife while she claimed she needed space. I didn't scream. I didn't call her. I didn't even text. Instead, I got up from the couch, walked to the kitchen, and poured myself a glass of water, hands trembling the whole time. This wasn't a maybe anymore. This was a decision, a choice. And suddenly, I wasn't confused. I was calm, too calm. The next morning, she came home like nothing happened, hair tied up, coffee in hand, wearing the same jacket she wore in the hotel's lobby. I watched her set her keys down, slip off her shoes, and walk into the kitchen. "Morning," she said, like we were roommates, not husband and wife. I didn't answer right away, just looked at her. She noticed. "What?" she asked, her tone suddenly unsure. I held up my phone, screen lit with the receipt. Her eyes widened. Silence. Then, "It's not what you think." I almost laughed. That phrase should be retired. It's always what you think. And worse, I said nothing. Let her speak. Let her stumble through half-truths and nervous laughs and shaky explanations about old friends and emotional support. Then I asked calmly, "Who's Michael H.?" She froze, then lied, said it was a coincidence, a misunderstanding, wrong hotel, wrong person. I nodded, still silent, but I wasn't angry anymore. I was done. I didn't raise my voice, didn't call her names, didn't throw things or cry. I just walked into the bedroom, grabbed the duffel bag I'd already packed the night before and said, "I'll be out by tonight." She followed me, eyes wide. "You're overreacting," she said. It was just dinner, just someone to talk to. But I had already made peace with it. Whatever we had, whatever we were, was already gone. She didn't try to stop me. She just stood there, stunned, as I packed up the life we'd built into a single bag. That night, I checked into a small Airbnb across town. Quiet, cold, but mine. I sat on the edge of the bed, stared at the blank TV screen, and felt everything and nothing all at once. 2 weeks passed. No calls, no texts, just silence. I focused on work, long hours, late nights, anything to keep from thinking too much. But healing isn't linear. Some days I felt okay. Other days, I caught myself reaching for my phone to text her, then remembered she wasn't mine anymore. Then, one Friday evening, I saw her name flash on my screen. I didn't answer. The voicemail came minutes later. "Grant, I made a mistake. I just needed space to clear my head, but I never wanted to lose you." Another silence. Then, "He didn't mean anything. It was stupid. Please, can we talk?" I sat there listening, not angry, not sad, just done. I didn't respond. Instead, I drove to my favorite overlook above the city, sat in my car, watched the lights below flicker like stars, and I realized sometimes the space someone says they need is really just the room they want to grow away from you. That night, I started writing again. Not texts, not emails, just pages in a notebook I hadn't opened in years. I wrote about love, about trust, about losing both, and somehow gaining myself back in the process. She never called again after that, and I didn't need her to. I have found my closure not in her apology, but in my own choice to stop chasing someone who had already let go. I didn't confront her immediately. Instead, I started observing everything more closely. Her routines, her words, her expressions. She'd still act distant, cordial but detached. It was like she was living in some parallel world where I didn't fully exist anymore. I checked her location sharing. It had been disabled. When I brought it up casually, she said, "Everyone deserves some privacy, Sam. You're being paranoid." But her voice didn't sound defensive. It sounded practiced. The next evening, while she was out with coworkers, I logged back into the same Tinder profile. It was still active. She was online. And worse, her most recent photo had been taken in our backyard. The same backyard where we once talked about starting a family. I scrolled through the chat logs. Most of them were surface-level flirting, but one thread caught my attention. His name was Tyler. She had sent him our dog's picture, and underneath, "Can't wait till you meet him in person." I took a walk around the block. It was late, cold, quiet. I needed to feel something other than betrayal, other than numbness. When I got back, she was home, sitting on the couch, texting. I didn't yell. I sat across from her, calm, controlled. "I saw the Tinder profile," I said. Her hands froze over her phone. "I know about Tyler, about the photos, the backyard, the messages." She opened her mouth to deny it, but then closed it again. The silence between us was louder than any scream. I didn't know how to say I was done," she whispered. I nodded slowly. "You didn't have to say anything. I already knew, but I still hoped I was wrong." I stood up. She didn't stop me. That night, I packed a bag, not out of anger, but because the version of us that I loved no longer existed.